be aware of that information. I think too little people know about it. When I learned about it was actually through Orem and the pose. Luckily, thanks to our beautiful family, we got to hear about it. So I'll give you a little bit of a history behind it and how we got familiarized, and then I'm gonna head it to Michelle and Sean. So basically, our son was diagnosed with ADHD, and they wanted to put him on medication, and Orem refused, insisted that we are not doing that 100%. And we were looking for other solutions. And then Orem was in an event and he got to talk to Michelle and Sean, where they introduced him to this new technology. And they shared actually an ABC investigation report that was done back in 2005 with us. When I saw that, I was like, this is crazy. How come I never heard of it? This is something that
Greco, sorry, 1 second. Greco, can you record this call?
It's on. Recording is on.
Okay.
Got it.
Sorry.
Good morning, Doug and Mary.
So when I saw the ABC investigation, I was shocked that this information was not out. And given my family history, I didn't want to ever think, why not? Why did I not start with this sooner? So obviously, my kids started taking the activation, the NRF2 activation. You'll hear a little bit about the science in a little bit. And the Axia, and the response that I got from the teachers, what I saw for myself was beyond amazing. And the rest is history. Since then, we are all taking the activators, the tri-synergizers, and we drink the NRF2 Axio. And Michelle and Sean, I'm gonna let you take over and talk a little bit.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's great to see you guys. I feel like we should be getting ready to board a bus and travel around together.
Oh, my heart is so exploding.
So great to see you guys, and just our love and appreciation that you're taking time and joining us in the Dagans. And you know, this is something that absolutely changed our life 9 years ago. Michelle, I don't know if all of you guys know, several years ago was very, very sick. The reason why we ended up in South Dakota, we didn't honestly know how long she was going to live. It was pretty scary. And we had seen some of the best doctors in the world, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, and as good as Western medicine is, they could rule out a lot of what it wasn't, but they couldn't tell us what was going on inside of her body. So we were kind of already on a path of trying to figure out different ways that we could help her with different health strategies and just integration of natural things into her health, better eating, diet, all of that. And this just happened to land into our lap. A friend of ours who is a dietitian at the Heart Hospital here in Sioux Falls, she said, you got to check this out. It's going to blow your mind. There's a cardiologist doing this meeting. We came in very, very skeptical, but at the same time, we knew that there's stuff out there that could help her body. And so that was really what led us into even investigating this personally.
Yeah, so again, so excited. Oh my gosh, I just can't even believe I'm seeing all your faces. Well, I can believe it, of course, right? Hashtag, of course. But this is such a gift, and you guys, more than anything, we are just so grateful to be here together just to share this. It's a mission for us, and it's a huge responsibility in our hearts. And we've brought to you guys today some of our closest friends, medical professionals who can just share what this is. I know for many of you, prevention, longevity, you know, all these things are very, very important. What's the cutting edge out there? And I'm just excited for you to have the information. And so do you want to maybe introduce?
Yeah, I'll jump in. We wanted to bring in the top of the top from our company on the science side for you guys, just to give you a better understanding of what we're talking about. And it's really about activating the body's natural pharmacy, doing things. I'm a finance guy, so I just say it's turning on what should be on, turning off what should be off, but it's really that rebalance in the body, and everybody's body's a little bit different. So it's just getting back in line what God had intended our bodies to do to begin with. So kind of cutting back that aging process. So let's start with a dear friend of ours out of Canada, Dr. Sveta Silverman. I've had the opportunity to travel the world with her. I've spent a lot of time up in Edmonton, in Alberta with her, just getting to know what a great, amazing person she has. And her mission is to just help people, you guys. She came over to Canada from Russia. In Russia, she was a pediatric surgeon. And when she went over to Canada, she had to go back to medical school to practice in Canada. So she went to medical school again. She's now a surgical pathologist and one of the top thought leaders on these types of activators and pathways inside of the body. So I will turn it over to my dear friend, Dr. Sveta Silverman.
What are you showing us, Sveta? She's showing us her shirt. Something.
This is my shirt. It has my hospital logo, and what I do, it said anatomic pathology.
There we go.
This is the now it's cold, sort of, you know, the fall is approaching, and then here's the T-shirt, and it says like whatever, it doesn't matter. Never mind. So hi guys, and to my friend Shalom Uvracha. So so my joy is to talk to you about NRF2 activation, right, Sean? That's what I'm doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I getting into specific NRF2 activator or just NRF2?
NRF2, please.
Okay, so here's the deal, guys. So yesterday, I knew that I'm coming on, so I did a little bit of a literature search, and that is why, again, I do very, very specific literature searches or NRF2 because I have been to 3 out of 5 World NRF2 conferences. So I go by the name and then review 2020. So these are very, very recent. Now, before NRF2, guess who got 2019 Nobel Prize in Medicine and Science? 2020 hasn't been awarded yet. 2019 was awarded for cellular oxidation. Ding, 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 ding. Somebody is going to be talking about mitochondria cellular oxidation and antioxidation. Cellular oxidation is not going to happen without cellular antioxidation. So the main thing about cells is how clean cells are. It doesn't matter what gold of a paint coat you're going to put on your walls. If the walls are molded, it ain't going to work. Well, the same thing with the cell. It doesn't per se, obviously lifestyle is huge. But what you need to do, like the car needs to be tuned up. The home needs to be cleaned. You have garbage containers, you have carburetors. Well, the cell is the same thing. When there is obviously cellular garbage, it has to be cleaned up. And if it doesn't cleaned up, anything you do to the cell ain't going to work. It doesn't matter what kind of a further mitochondrial upregulators you put or something like that. It ain't going to work because the cellular mechanism operates on the virtue of, I call it beautiful symphony. Do you want symphony or you want cacophony? So how do you sustain symphony? How do you clean the cell? There is a major protein complex, which is called NRF2. NRF2. So now, obviously, we live in a very interesting time, and I'm not putting things, but so pandemic. So I'm sure you've heard once or twice about cytokine storm. I'm sure you've heard once or twice about, in medical words, sorry, Sean Paul, it's called ACE inhibitor or ACE receptors. What happens is the virus hangs on to that ACE receptor and then it gets into the cell. Well, guess what downregulates this ACE2 receptor? There's a tiny, which is not that tiny protein, which is called NRF2. NRF2 downregulates ACE2. What does it mean? The entrance of the virus into the cell is blocked. Okay, fine. God forbid the virus is in the cell. What happens to the immune system? It gets into disarray and it activates what is called pro-inflammatory cytokines. I am sure you've heard of IL-6. Everybody does. You just don't know what it is. It's a pro-inflammatory cytokine that upregulates or bizarre the immune system. Well, guess what downregulates IL-6? NRF2. NRF2 downregulates IL-6. So this is just in a million. Now, I'm sure a few of you heard the concept, which is called glutathione, or the master antioxidant. So, well, guess what? Glutathione is one of the probably main protectors of our cell from viral interference. Well, guess which protein upregulates glutathione on a virtue that you eat right? It's an NRF2 complex. So NRF2 it's not just one protein. It's a combination of multiple proteins with a little targets on it. And those targets are open to the good thing. That's why we're talking about proper NRF2 activation with now synergy of the ingredients, because the ingredient hits on the target, then it upregulates this protein complex NRF2. Then what does it do? NRF2 is, I'm quoting, it can be next therapeutic, the next major, guys, help me out, the Washington paper.
The most
It's
extraordinary therapeutic.
It's the most extraordinary therapeutic potential or therapeutic in medicine. That's how I quote it. We downregulate it to health, but when you quote the paper, it said that major breakthrough, future breakthrough in medicine. So now, so what happens is why? Well, because NRF2 in simplicity operates in three major ways. The interplay is unbelievable. Well, it upregulates your anti-inflammatory pathways, ding ding. It upregulates your anti-cancer pathways. Well, we call COVID-19 pandemic. I think we should call cancer a pandemic, which it is. And what we talk about in sort of lame terms, it upregulates your cellular cleansers or your cellular antioxidants. Now, so here's the deal. We need to eat antioxidants, but without us tuning up our cellular production of antioxidants, it's not going to work. So per se, here's the chain. Eat your vitamin C's and E's and D's and A's. What happens is, when vitamin E does the trick, it turns on into free radicals. So what recovers it? Vitamin C. When vitamin C gets its job done, it turns into a free radical. What recovers it? Glutathione. So how do we get glutathione? NRF2 turns on a glutathione gene. Turns on glutathione. Glutathione recovers your vitamins so they can operate, but it goes vice versa. So the importance of, now, what happens in our daily living? People say, oh, I can eat right, I don't need to supplement. Yes, you do. Because the way we live now, it matters what we eat and how we live, and when we do yoga at 6 a.m. It matters. But the bizarrety of the environmental stress that we live in, you got to upregulate yourself. That's when NRF2 upregulation, because it slows down in that barrage of cellular overwhelming cellular detoxification processes. They just get overwhelmed. They need to be rebooted. And then NRF2 slows down when we age. It's just the way it is. So the significance of NRF2 protein complex is still not truly understood. So when I did the literature search yesterday, now, we're not going to talk diseases, but I guess I'm allowed to mention a few categories. Am I?
Yes.
Pose.
Yeah, go for it.
Am I allowed
Go
to
for it.
mention disease categories?
Group here.
Yep.
It's a trusted circle here.
Okay, so good. So, I dare you guys, go on PubMed. You don't need to read the papers, but I call it stupid search. Go do search NRF2 autoimmune diseases, NRF2 diabetes, massive papers. Yesterday, the paper was the review, 2020 review by, I call her godmother of NRF2, Dr. Albina Dinkova-Kostova. So, and John Hayes from UK. So they published in Cancer Cell Journal. Hello. That is a huge journal. Review on oxidative stress of free radical damage and cancer. Well, guess who is Joan Hayes and Albina Kostova-Dinkova? As I told you already, one is the godmother of NRF2, and the other one is tagging along. Awesome, dude. So then the paper is on, now you need to, NRF2, oxidative stress, neurodegenerative disorders. But now we know that they're not per se neurodegenerative disorders. Now we rename them as neuroinflammatory disorders, neuroinflammation as, and you start thinking Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, different kind of autoimmune and neurodegeneration. Thank you for loving me. Awesome, John. Alzheimer's disease and oxidative stress and NRF2 downregulation. Seriously. Now we're talking from neurodegenerative, Lou Gehrig's disease. From obviously now, if there is a paper on oxidative stress, absolutely. Now there are human clinical trials on NRF2 and cancer and metastatic breast cancer. So these are the, now, you know, the guys, my beautiful Israelis, they mentioned ADHD. Absolutely. Now, again, neurodegenerative, neuroinflammatory disorders as autism. The statistics on autism is, you read some papers, it will tell you 1 out of 30, I will be done, 1 out of, tell me when, 1 out of 32 people. Some say 1 out of 40 kids. Some say 1 out of 50. It doesn't matter. 1 out of 32, 1 out of 40, 50. That is a lot of autistic spectrum disorder kids. Now kids are going back to school. What do we have? Again, ADD, ADHD. Why? So because of this oxidative stress of free radical damage. That is why the huge potential, the potential on NRF2 to me is tremendous. You know, I keep talking to the guy who basically discovered NRF2, Dr. Masayuki Yamamoto. I call him godfather of NRF2, Masi Yamamoto. So I asked Masi, I said, Masi, I think you're going to get Nobel Prize just because of the significance of it. Because this is the foundation of cellular health. As I said, cellular health is the beautiful symphony of over 100,000 biochemical processes. And they do need to work in synchrony and a symphony, not in a cacophony. So I'm done with NRF2.
I love it. And she could go on honestly for hours. She is a thought leader on NRF2. She actually was at the very first symposium in Cambridge talking about it and meeting with the other leaders in the world. She's presented posters on breast cancer and NRF2. And I know you guys know, but with prescription or drug-based products, we can't claim this treats, prevents, cures, mitigates anything. But if we could download into your head the anecdotal evidence that we've seen over the past decade on this, it's a no-brainer. People would integrate this into their health strategy. It changes the body and it gets the body back doing what it was designed to do. So thank you so much, Feta. Appreciate, love you, respect you so much. Now we want to swing over to one of the top 50 cardiologists in the world. Her resume is unbelievable, you guys. She's from India. She was India's first woman preventive cardiologist and founder of the Institute of Preventive Cardiology in 1999 in Mumbai. She was voted top 50 outstanding women in global healthcare. She was awarded by the Finance Minister of India the Best Woman Entrepreneur in 2006. She served as a mentor for many healthcare startups and business consultant, and her original research can be found on PubMed as well too. So we want to swing over to Dr. Gandhi. Are you out there to talk about NRF1 for us?
There she is.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Sean and Michelle. It's pleasure to be with this amazing group. And as what I'm going to share today, I think is first I'm going to ask a question to everyone that how many of you are interested in having unlimited energy? Imagine that your body is like, okay, give me a thumbs up maybe on the chat. Let's make it a little exciting. And okay, so as Dr. Silverman is amazing, one of the reasons I joined the business was because when I heard her and her passion and her dedication and what she does, and we have amazing team out here. Hang on, guys, till the end, because there are going to be a lot of things and we are all intertwined, you know. So you're going to get tons of information today on what we are talking. So what brought me to Life Vantage and what we are doing is so exciting, because trust me, guys, I was feeling like a fool, you know, when I heard this information. I am getting into American College of Cardiology, American Heart Associations, which are the topmost in the world conferences every year, you know, to track science and research. And I don't get this information, you know, and all I learn is from people like Sean and Michelle on how we should be managing cellular activation and reducing oxidative stress, you know. So it was an amazing journey. I won't get into it, but what I want to share is that we are all here with a vision and mission that we want to change the way the things are in healthcare right now. Like at IPC, which is Institute of Preventive Cardiology, I have done more than 100,000 cases, and I've helped people prevent and reverse heart disease. One of my, according to like my research, 80% of the heart attacks are preventable, and almost like 90% bypass surgeries and angioplasties shouldn't be doing it, you know, if people take charge of their heart health. So I also have a not-for-profit global foundation for preventive cardiology, where we are educating and empowering people with heart health tools. So in this journey of eradication, I found that what we are doing here, which is NRF2 activation, NRF1 activation, and we'll be talking about all this biohacking. I felt that that is very, very important, because I was doing non-surgical treatments which involved certain procedures like giving IV shots. And like, you know, there are people like Dr. Silverman mentioned about glutathione, you know, people take glutathione drips. I was also doing chelation for the free radicals, like she mentioned about oxidative stress. So one of the ways to combat is antioxidant therapy. But when we discovered that Protandim is the only supplement in the whole world which is actually research proven to reduce oxidative stress, you know, by 40% in 30 days, this literally blew off my mind. And I have not seen any supplements on having so many of research from third party validation. Doctors like that, because most of the times what we see is that anything is researched by the pharmaceutical company or the company which is manufacturing the product. Okay, but the biggest advantage of this company is that we have a third party validation, which they will definitely share. But what I want to tell you is that this company is amazing, and the science behind this is amazing. And how it is relevant is that I just want to give you a quick stat, because all of you are, I'm sure, into biohacking and anti-aging. And what we are seeing now in US is like almost 1 in 2 people are having hypertension, 1 in 3 pre-diabetes, and almost 1 in 4 heart disease. So I feel that if you are living that, oh, I won't get a heart disease or a cancer or something, I feel that we are just playing with ourselves, you know. And what we are talking here today, this information and these products, everyone needs it. So NRF1, I think, which I started off, that all of you want unlimited energy. I would say that very simple, like you have a mobile phone and you have a battery, right? So this battery needs to be charged every day, right? Because this battery gives a power supply to your cell. And if this battery is not charged, what is going to happen? Your phone is going to break down, you'll have issues and everything. So same way, dear friends, in our cells, mitochondria, which is actually, it is like known as the powerhouse of the cell. Okay, so this mitochondria actually supplies energy to your body. Okay, and they found out in a research that when you are a 5-year-old, you have got like a perfect structure and function of mitochondria. You have, that's why you see the young ones are so energetic, right? And as you grow old, you will understand that your energy levels decrease, you are more fatigued, and you get into this whole lot of diseases. And they found that by 90 years, 95% of the mitochondria are damaged. Okay, so I feel that if anyone is thinking that I don't need any NRF2 NRF1 activator or NRF2, because you don't have to have any disease, dear friends. You don't have to have any ailment or any problem actually to get activated, because these are your body cells function. It is like, as I told you, that you cannot think of a mobile phone without a battery, right? Or charging a battery. So same way, you cannot think of living your life without activating your NRF1 and NRF2. So the ingredients are all natural. I have worked with a lot of these ingredients individually as a cardiologist. Like all of you must be aware of alpha lipoic acid. We use it actually in clinical practice for like it is like a anti-inflammatory. We also use this for diabetes. There are tons of applications. I won't go, but the ingredients in this are all natural. CoQ10, like I have used CoQ10 like water, you can say. Generally cardiologists don't give it, but I give it because the CoQ10 is actually the ingredient which is required for the heart muscle pumping. Okay, it is very, very important ingredient. And grape extract, we all know, is also very important. Quercetin, in fact, quercetin nowadays is lot into the research, because it is like having studies on anti-inflammatory, and it is also immunity booster. Okay, so quercetin is also very important, and acetyl carnitine is also like very important for heart health. So I won't get more into it, but just what I want to tell you is that this these substances are all natural. They are like approved by the like Banned Substances Consumer Goods National Sports Federation, because what I want to give always to my patients is that it has to be very clean and pure and drug free. Because one of my main mission is that though I am an allopathic trained doctor, but I want to keep people away from doctors and away from hospitals, you know. So I just love working with natural therapies. I don't call this as a replacement to a great diet. I always believe that we should have a wholesome plant-based diet. That is what I always talk, which is great for heart health, brain health, overall health. And exercise and meditation. Even meditation also can activate and bring in all these energies. But dear friends, the problem nowadays is the water, and most important problem which is destroying the energy is technology. The electromagnetic radiations, you can't just escape that. We have to use our phones, our Wi-Fi, you know, so many things which are around us. So I feel that, you know, initially maybe 20 years ago, I was anti-supplements. I was thinking, oh, our body can cope up. I'm also a yoga teacher. But now I'm feeling that the toxic overload which we are facing in our environment and in our day-to-day living is so strong that even if we eat organic food, clean food, we exercise, we meditate, but still I would say that it is like a part of my regimen. Like I always believe in walking the talk. So I have this Trice Energizer daily. My family is on it. My patients are on it. And I have seen amazing results. I have seen results where people like having chest pain and all, like even after conventional surgeries, they have improved. I have seen results in the blood pathology reports, you know, because for me, everything is seeing is believing, you know, like whatever the research was showing to me in the beginning, that motivated me to join the business. But I have become like, it's in my blood now to talk about it, because I have seen those results and I've seen those lives changing. And I feel that Sean and Michelle has really given you their gift of time today. And all of us are together here with sharing these stories. Each one of us here is a brilliant doctor in their own ways and contributing. And we all love each other because, frankly, we don't get to talk this in our hospitals. We don't get to talk this in our conferences. So we just love being here whenever we get an opportunity, because you know, we can share honestly. when we take a Hippocratic oath, before I sign off, when we take a Hippocratic oath, Hippocrates was the father of modern medicine. When we take this oath, when we are a physician, is basically to serve the patients. Unfortunately, what is happening today, this has become a Hippocratic oath where you are serving the pharma. And I think we are all heart-centered physicians over here. We are God attuned, because at the end of the day, we should not have like ego, what we are taught in the medical college. What we have here is like all the people who are talking to you are here for the patients, for what is right for the people. So dear friends, thank you very much for listening to me. There will be more great things coming up from Dr. Sean, Dr. Melody, and all who are there on the call. They will be talking about tri-synergizer and the effect on the genes and everything. But please keep in mind that you cannot just live your life without activation. Your activation starts today. As of now, it is like having a battery on your phone. So if you don't have it, you don't have your phone with a battery. So thank you very much. And thanks, Sean and Michelle, for having me here.
You rock,
Thank
Dr.
you,
Gandhi.
Gandhi.
Thank you
Love
so much
you.
for your time. And you guys, these doctors, they're really, really, truly about prevention and not being in reactionary medicine. And that's what I love, each one of these and their missions. They're on this journey to be able to provide healthcare to people in a better suited way for 2020 and on. So thank you so much for your time.
And what I love too is when I know when we all become very passionate about something and that responsibility really comes to play, that obsession comes, right? Just the constant obsession as far as continued research and continued just sharing and continued collaboration and discussion with everybody. So it's a beautiful thing. So
and these guys are jumping in between patients, so I want to be totally respectful of their time, but get you guys the information that you need. So we're going to jump over to Dr. Sean McKee. We actually served on the field advisory board for our company with Dr. Sean. She's a certified neuroradiologist. I love the fact that she's a two-time Ironman triathlete, you guys, 140.6 mile Ironman. And she's done that twice, married to a gastroenterologist and mother of two sons that are in college. She's an awesome, awesome friend. Just love doing life with you, Dr. Sean.
Well, back at you, Sean and Michelle. I am honored to be here, and thank you for that kind introduction. Wow, following those two powerhouse doctors is very humbling. So they have talked to you about the two first pathways, NRF2 and NRF1, reducing oxidative stress, increasing mitochondrial biogenesis. What has always fascinated me is all of the things that are coming out in the last 2 decades in terms of healthy longevity. And I'm sure many of you have heard of something called NAD. And, you know, you guys are probably all biohackers yourself. If you're following Tony Robbins, I know you know about biohacking, and you're probably, many of you are probably taking an NAD booster. And we're going to talk a little bit about why NAD boosting is such a big deal and what NAD is. NAD is a tiny molecule, one of the most important molecules of life. In fact, along with ATP and amino acids, it's the most important molecule for life. In fact, if you didn't have NAD, you'd be dead within 20, 30 seconds. It plays a critical role in energy metabolism. It's used in the making of ATP. Your body can synthesize it from a number of dietary sources like tryptophan and niacin. I'm going to have to clear my throat. Hold on. And niacin, as well as niacin precursor or NAD precursors, NMN, and others. So the thing is, most of your NAD is actually salvaged through recycling. And there are a number of enzymes that are involved in that. So I'm going to share my slides here, if I might. The first slide sharer of the day. Can you see my slide, Michelle and Sean? Okay. All right. So it's it's involved as a cofactor in energy production. And we're going to talk about this. This is how you synthesize it from tryptophan. There will not be a test at the end, but you can see there are a number of metabolic reactions that occur along the way. And again, niacin in 3 forms or niacin equivalents are precursors, and you can take precursors to boost your NAD a little bit. But we're going to get into something that is really more impacting your body's ability to make it. So without NAD, you're basically dead. And it's a constant shuffling between oxidation and reduction of NAD to NADH. And all of that goes along with producing ATP, but it's also the sole substrate for a set of proteins in your body called sirtuins. And these are basically the cellular CEO. They tell all of the other proteins and enzymes where to go and what to do. It's also critical for an enzyme called PARP, which is one of the enzymes that repairs DNA, as well as sirtuins. So this is involved in both mitochondrial oxidation or oxidative phosphorylation, production of ATP through the mitochondria, and also the non-mitochondrial glycolysis pathway. So it's critical, indispensable. It facilitates genome stability, very important for longevity. And in fact, cells from people who are over 100 years old have higher levels of PARP, which is associated with NAD. So we want to upregulate NAD. Our body needs it. And we want to stimulate the sirtuin family of proteins, okay? Our levels of NAD decrease every year. And they're, in fact, by the time you're 50 years old, they're decreased about 40%, especially in the brain. And depletion of NAD is going to reduce your autophagy. What is autophagy? Autophagy is basically reusing your cellular parts, getting rid of damaged, decaying, dying cells, and using the parts to make new healthy cells. We have mitochondrial dysfunction, which is at the root cause of everything that goes wrong, as well as oxidative stress. We have more DNA damage, dysregulated metabolism, weight gain, etc. So we want to increase NAD to promote health span. We want to do it, and we can do it a number of ways. You can do it through fasting. I'm sure you've all heard of intermittent fasting, high intensity interval training, as well as taking those precursors. Again, we're talking about vital pathways such as insulin stability, mitochondria making energy from gluconeogenesis, apoptosis, again, getting rid of damaged cells and resistance to oxidative stress. Upregulating NAD affects many, many pathways, and we're going to talk about some of them. AMPK. This is an enzyme that helps protect against obesity, diabetes. It reduces abdominal fat, increases mitochondrial biogenesis. You can increase it with fasting and exercise again, and it decreases something called mTOR. And mTOR is important for building muscles and growing, but you want to keep it at bay. You want to keep it in balance for healthy longevity. Of course, we want to suppress tumors, right? So we're going to activate P53, modulates this gene to protect against cancer initiation and repairing DNA. We want to decrease this enzyme called NF-kappa B, which is a major inflammatory gene, along with IL-6 that Dr. Silverman was talking about. It's a major factor in chronic inflammation, and we want to inhibit it. That's what NAD does. We want to control this mTOR. And I want to show you, hold on, I apologize. Okay, so, okay, PGC1 alpha is a marker of mitochondrial biogenesis that Dr. Gandhi was talking about. When you increase NAD, I want to show you something really, really neat here. This is a very hard to see slide, but there's two mice on a treadmill. And you look at the mouse on the left and the mouse on the right. The mouse on the left is, you can see my cursor up ahead, and the mouse on the right is behind. This is a normal mouse. And this treadmill was designed to run for, I think, 3 kilometers. These mice were genetically manipulated to have more NAD. And look at the difference.
And 50% further, but actually some of them ran so far that the machine, the little treadmill, stopped working. And we had to reprogram software because this program had never seen a mouse that ran more than 3 kilometers.
3 kilometers for a mouse.
For an old mouse, they outran the young mice.
So that was Dr. David Sinclair of Harvard, and he has recently written a book called Lifespan. And he is one of the forefront researchers in healthy longevity. In fact, he wants to call aging a disease. I'm not really sure we should call it a disease, but we definitely should try to modulate and optimize the process. And we were talking about those niacin precursors and fasting as ways to increase NAD and sirtuin activity. And you can actually chronically calorie restrict. And by calorie restricting, I'm not talking about a couple hundred calories fewer a day. I'm talking a diet of like 600 or 700 calories. Doing so, obviously you run the risk of malnutrition, grumpiness, gallbladder dysfunction, but you'll increase your sirtuin activity 94%. So you will maybe not live longer, maybe live longer, but you're definitely going to feel like you're living longer, right? If you're hungry all the time and hangry. And you can take precursors here as the middle, we call it the competition, but you take the precursors, you're going to upregulate you're going to bring more bricks. Basically, if you have a conveyor belt full of bricks, you're going to bring more bricks to the construction site. So you can make a little bit more if you were waiting on a load of bricks. But that's 2% in 24 hours. If you take the precursor nicotinamide riboside NMN for 8 weeks, you're going to increase your sirtuin activity and your NAD by 40%. Versus the approach that our company uses, which is to activate the pathways that are involved in all of those processes I showed you, those many reactions. There's critical enzymes that are rate limiting steps. And if you can naturally upregulate those enzymes, then you can naturally increase your quantity that your body makes on its own by 100% in 24 hours. So that, to me, was a game changer. And, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Stop share. Okay, so that is why I am so excited about what we have, because everything that we're talking about is involved in activating pathways that we already have that become less and less active as we get older. And I'm so excited. I know I took NAD for months too. When I, as I told you, I very much got excited about all of the things that come out in literature. And I'm like, oh, NAD, that's important. Sirtuins, that's important. So I took those precursors, nothing happened. But the first day I started activating the pathway, the enzymatic pathways that make NAD, I noticed a big change. And I was really, really excited to see that the science supports what I was feeling. And it wasn't just placebo effect. Another thing I want to mention is placebo effect. It can be a 30% effect, positive, so it's real. But when you give things like this to animals, they don't have a placebo effect. That mouse didn't have a placebo effect. You can see it when you give the products to, the NRF2 mainly, to dogs and horses and cats and rabbits and goats and everything. So it's very exciting. And I'm going to let Sean and Michelle introduce our next incredible speaker. Thank you so much.
Thanks for taking the time, Dr. Sean. And we truly appreciate your guys' knowledge base. And I love being able to lock arms in our business with people at this caliber, because that is not our background or our experience in the medical profession. But one of the things that I found really, really interesting about these products and that flagship product, Protandim NRF2, is the ability that the company had to get patents on the product, because you can't typically patent natural-based products. Right? If you have milk thistle, you can't patent milk thistle. You can go to stores and find 20 different versions on the shelf. But the science behind the products in the ratio that these ingredients are does something very, very specific. And that's what's activating these pathways and upregulating the things the way that they do. So we want to wrap it up with Dr. Melody Rodarty, another great friend of ours. We actually met her and her husband in Costa Rica. Got to spend a good deal of time early on in their life
Emma likes that.
journey. And just great, great people. Again, somebody that really wants to work on the prevention side instead of reactionary medicine. She's been rated one of the top doctor in Arizona several times. Her background is extensive as well too, but more than anything, she's such an amazing human that wants to give back to the world. Double board certified internist, and obesity medicine is her specialty. Again, named one of the top doctors in Arizona 2017 and 2019. And I will turn it over to you, Dr. Melody Rodarty.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. This has been exciting. Hopefully all of you guys have just kind of noticed our passion. All of us are busy but we can't stop talking about these products and these pathways. I know I can speak for all of us and in saying that. And why I was like, I'm gonna make time this morning to be on this is because is because of that. I want you guys to be able to hear the information that's available for you to slow down the aging process, to live your best life, because all the money in the world can't buy your health back when you have a health condition. And I have promised that I will always, always practice medicine like I would want medicine practiced, you know, for my family. And that's really where my journey started. Was I'm so thankful my parents immigrated here to give my brother and I every opportunity for the best education. I still feel like the US is a great place for freedom, despite what we're going through right now. But that's why I get to be here today, is because of what they saw and what they wanted for their children. And in that, I was able to, one, go to college, and two, then go on to medical school. My brother and I both did. And when I started in 2005, I would tell my patients, my goal is to see you when you're not sick, and in order so we can prevent the things that are in your family history. Little did I know at that time that we would be able to, at that time I was thinking we had control of about maybe 40 to 50% of our gene expression. The studies now show we have over 95% of our genes we can help express, either upregulate or downregulate. And so back then, people would look at me, my patients be like, you want to see me when I'm not sick? And I'd be like, yes, and we're going to put things into place. What I had started doing was hyperbaric medicine and wound care at the time with internal medicine. And I could see what increased antioxidants could do. High doses could be actually pro-oxidant. They could actually turn against my patients and their wound healing. And so I found out very early that there had to be a balance. Fast forward to about 2015, and I had a son with an autoimmune condition. I had a mom who is now a 2-time breast cancer survivor, where breast cancer was not in our family. And she got it in her 50s with no other health conditions. And I'm sitting there going, I'm doing everything for my family. What can I be doing? What else can I be doing to help them out? Because I'm a DO, so I chose that path because I wanted to integrate Eastern and Western medicine from a very early age. I felt like the whole mind-body connection was very important. And so I was already practicing that way, but I didn't have all the answers. And I'm so thankful that someone wanted to show me. You heard about that ABC Primetime Investigative Report, because I would not let my jaw drop in front of the person showing me, because I was just like, this is too good to be true. There's no way that oxidative stress can reduce by that 40–45%. And I just kind of was like, thank you very much. I'll get back to you. And I literally went home and I typed in Protandim NRF2 into PubMed. And I couldn't believe 15 years ago that there were 15 studies for me to look at that night. And I couldn't stop reading, because I've never been able to type in a supplement that my patient brings me and have it have studies on PubMed with the actual name, okay? Ingredients have been on there. Other companies had brought me things where there's incredible white papers. I mean, they did a great job with their white paper, but there had been nothing with so many peer-reviewed studies outside of the company itself. And so I started feeling like I have to share this. One, my family, I literally but I'm like, how much can I buy at one time? And I took it over to my parents' house because they're not science minded. I made them watch ABC and I said, you're both popping these pills, you're taking these. My son, and my family, we started on it. And the more and more that I talked with other people, the more research I did, I felt like it was almost medical malpractice for me not to tell people that there was something natural to help their cells. And this was 5.5 years ago. Since then, we've brought on the NRF1 activator, and then we brought on the NAD. And my passion just grows exponentially with this. 4 years ago, when I had to recertify for my internal medicine boards, the oncologist sat in front of the class and he said, we were about 500 in this classroom. He's like, not one of you are going to understand this statement, but you will come to understand the statement. Cancer is not a genetic mutation first. It is a mitochondrial dysfunction. And that was the same time I was talking with this company about them releasing the NRF1 activator to help with mitochondrial dysfunction. And I was like, I am in the right place at the right time. I know now items that I can use personally and for my friends and my family and my colleagues. And you guys, I actually just built my own practice this past year because I couldn't stand having a lid on my passion, because I want to do things naturally. I was part of a huge group that's very well known, and I could not share what natural food could do. I couldn't share what supplementation could do. I was told, when I told my patients to meditate and about some hypnotherapies and things, I was told I couldn't do those types of things. And so I took the hugest leap of faith with COVID, not even knowing it was at the forefront. And my grand opening was February 14th. And I'm still up and running and every month beating my goals. So I have to be thinking that my passion to make sure people stay healthy is working. I'm just being upfront. It's like literally, it's just there. Okay. So what I want is to leave you with a couple things, because I'm a visual person too. And so I'm going to share my screen because I think that it's really important to kind of know what you're like, I have never heard of some of these pathways, or some of you are like, I do know these pathways. I didn't know that there was something out there that had science behind it to help me activate these pathways. So let me show you. So when we put it all together, it's actually called Tri-Synergizer. This is the protein NRF2, NRF1, and NAD. And so it's really cool. You can get them as bottles. You can get them as tearaway packets, which I love, because when we can travel, it's always nice to have something that is easy to take. Right now, all my travel packets are kind of tucked away, unless I get to go up to the mountains to the cabin. But this is kind of a summary, okay? So NRF2 is acting upon the oxidative stress theory of aging, okay? We want to turn this pathway on to release our own antioxidants. The master one was glutathione that you got to hear from Dr. Silverman. She amazes me. All of the women that presented amaze me. And so this is the incredible detoxification pathway and the master regulator. The NRF1 synergizer is helping the mitochondrial theory of aging. We need to protect our mitochondrial biogenesis, incredibly important for us to slow down the aging process. So you can see that product. And then the third product is the NAD synergizer, which is helping our sirtuins. Specifically, we need our sirtuins for longevity. They're considered our longevity genes. And so the three of these together are called the Tri-Synergizer. Then this is another one for those of you who love gene expression. Across the bottom, you can see the specific genes and the activation that happens with either NRF2, NRF1, or NAD as we move from the left to the right. So alone, you can see we are having incredible effect on gene expression. But when you put it together with the three as the Tri-Synergizer, this is what you get in blue. So hopefully the color is showing. This is amazing. I will tell you, as part of the science advisory team of this company, when we were presented this, we literally, our jaws dropped. We were like, when is this fully published? Because we want to scream this from the top of rooftops, that we have answers on slowing down aging, on allowing our bodies to live their best life, right? Isn't that what we all want? So that is, you know, I've just felt like those 3 slides would be important to kind of just tie this together. Because if you're like me, I can listen to things, but I kind of want to see it too, because then I continue to kind of show that slideshow in my own brain going, this is what it is. And now I want to go back. I'm that person that likes to validate. And so I wanted to say thank you. I wanted to just share my passion and my story, because I think you can always find science, but then to know how we've put it into practice makes it even different. And anyway, I could go on. I'm going to stop. It's like, for me, it's like we thought we'd keep this under an hour, but Dr. Sean McKee blows my mind at times, because when you think that she is a neuroradiologist, she will have the most detailed discussions with me that I'm like, oh, can you just do enrollment with me, please? And Dr. Gunn, the fact that she wants to heal hearts without surgery, I'm sorry, but most surgeons get super happy to get a scalpel in their hand. And I love that her goal is to keep these pathways and keep these people out of the bypasses, because we know what happens after bypass surgery and after stents. The quality of life a lot of times is reduced, and we are then praying that we keep those vessels open. And the fact that the American Heart Association has that the study, and we kept the bypass grafts open naturally, I mean, come on. So anyway, that's my passion. That's my presentation. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this, because I can't stop talking. And that's why I felt it was malpractice not to go out on my own, so I could just speak openly about this.
Oh,
You guys rock. So happy you guys had the opportunity today to just bless us with your education and your thoughts on this, because it isn't a question of if you can do these things in the body, it's how. And, you know, that's the journey that we've been on the last decade, is just uncovering the best ways to unlock the pharmacy inside of our body and getting it working like it used to when we were younger. I think we can open it up for a few minutes for questions that you guys have. The doctors that can stay on will stay on, and if they have to jump off for patients, we appreciate you.
or
Thank
anything
you.
else, Orem and Sarah?
So two things. One, thank you so much, Michelle, Sean, the doctors. It was amazing. I'm very passionate about this. And like for me, with my family history, it was really, really important. One of the things that you mentioned, about the patents and all of that, we are all familiar with vitamins, and we're all taking all kinds of supplements. But like for me, for us, this was life-changing. And I think everybody should know about this, because we know knowledge is power and potential if we do something about it. So now that you have the knowledge, you can keep on researching, asking questions, and please ask questions. Varda, I saw that you wrote that you did take it for 6 months. So
The NID.
the NAD, which one did you take?
I took just the NAD separately and didn't do anything. Something which was connected to Dr. Sinclair. So I paid lots of money, no result. Okay, I will be happy.
Things that I want to I want to put emphasis on, and Michelle and Sean and the doctor, please correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that I love about this product, that it's not a supplement. It's actually activating our body to do what it needs to be doing. So there's a huge difference in my eyes between taking a supplement that, your body is basically getting used to being independent, than actually activating your body to do what needs to be done.
And I know, Dr. Renardi, we've talked about this in the past. Can you kind of add on to that, as far as people's bodies and being able to physically feel something versus it working, but not having that actual, physical thing that you can say, oh, it did this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge difference between supplementation and activation. And in the world, we'll talk specifically in the world of NAD, it really makes a difference if you're activating it, or whether or not you're just taking the building blocks, or you're taking an NAD that's unable to truly activate the entire cascade so that you feel something. And so the type of and what I love is kind of the one slide that Dr. McKee had showed, where it was kind of what fasting could do versus one of the competitors that is out there and then ours is a true NAD activator per se. Okay, we are helping each block that needs to be put onto the conveyor belt, so that the end product is being able to fully recycle the entire process and have NAD levels go up. So usually when I'm talking to this about people, my whole goal is, especially, let me take myself for example, okay? I have no medical conditions really. I didn't really think migraines were a big deal. And let's say just kind of genetic hyperlipidemia, which I had almost under complete control. I went on this product because my mom was now a 2-time breast cancer survivor. And I had like a couple just things in my family, I thought, well, I want something that protects my genes, my genetic makeup, how it's expressed. How can I slow down the aging process? If you go back to any of the lectures I used to do back in 2005, I always said, I want to kick and scream until the day I die, meaning I have longevity, I have life. I am not just someone who's going to be sitting in a wheelchair or in a bed and having my great grandchildren come and play around me instead of me running around them. And so when I saw this product initially, and I thought, okay, there's something for me to take in order to slow down the aging process to help upregulate and downregulate my genes. I don't know exactly what it's going to do, but I'm going to take it. I didn't expect the things that I ended up seeing in my blood work, nor in my body and how I am aging, okay? So a lot of times we do things because we know that they are healthy for us. But with this is more than just it being like some multivitamin that you're excited to take and someone just told you to do, because you can seriously follow your blood work. There are certain markers of aging that you can follow when you're on these products. And so you might not feel something initially, and that's okay, especially because I have a feeling majority of you on this are already taking great care of your health and doing things in order to, support longevity and health. But you have now the tools to do it at an even higher level, and it is measurable. So, and we didn't even present the NIA study. The NIA study was not even done by LifeVantage. They actually just use Protandim in the natural arm, and some of the ingredients that are in Protandim were also in the natural arm of this study. It was a 10-year study. And then the medication arm, I think someone along the way wrote something about metformin. And there were a couple medications that prolonged longevity, but Protandim was the only natural one to prolong longevity of a mouse by about 7%. And they didn't even use the full dose of Protandim until like halfway through the study. So who knows what the next part of the study will show. And so that's where I will say you might not feel something, but I know that your genes are feeling something, and your blood work will show different changes. So for me, it's something that I will take, whether or not I found whether or not I was going to feel like I was going to go run a marathon like Dr. Sean. My goal was more, I need to protect my genes because I really don't want some of the things that are in my family lineage.
I want to make a question. Thank you, Michelle and Sean, for this wonderful information and the physicians that have been here. I would like to ask if this protein, the way that it's created and the way the way you take it, has any contraindication?
Veta, do you want to answer that? Or Melody, whoever?
Contraindication.
Or Sean?
I'll take it. There are no known drug interactions because this is just basically food in a caplet. That said, anytime someone is having medical treatment designed to kill certain cells, trying to stay compliant, you want to check with your doctor to determine because basically things like chemotherapy, radiation therapy, those are designed to increase oxidative stress and cause mitochondrial dysfunction in the tumor. So you want to have that conversation with your doctor about whether or not reducing oxidative stress and improving mitochondrial biogenesis in the host, the other parts of you that aren't being attacked, is a good idea or not. I've known people that have held off while they're doing treatments and started after. And I've known people that have continued to activate during treatments and actually started activating midway. And then instead of coming home and laying on the couch for 4 or 5 days after treatment, they went to Lowe's to buy paint to paint the shed. But later that day, they actually painted the shed. So it can definitely help to support the host, but you want to have that conversation. And anytime someone has, always talk to your doctor, look at the ingredients and see whether or not, because your doctor probably doesn't know about activation yet. They will, but you can talk about the ingredients and then they can give you their blessing.
Right.
Here to help. Like any questions that you guys, any personal questions.
I wanted to add actually, Michelle, to this. I wanted to add to the side effects part from my like what I've observed. So what I've seen is that like especially I get a lot of questions, surgeries, right? So when people are actually going for any surgeries, so in NRF2 there is turmeric, which is actually a blood thinner, and many times so the doctors. So whenever you are undergoing any procedure, as Dr. Sean said, it is better to ask your doctor. So I generally, especially if somebody needs to go for a heart procedure or a heart surgery, or whenever any bleeding is there, then there is a protocol to hold off, and then once there is a healing happening, then to continue. And another thing is, remember that the products are all natural, but sometimes it can happen that some products, particular ingredients may not suit an individual. That is very, very individually sensitive. So as such, there are no contraindications, but what we recommend is that each one of you, when you start, you can just take one and see that how your body adapts. And the third part I want to say was that testing, because unfortunately, these are all working at the genetic levels, as Dr. Melody shared. So you cannot see any visible, like tangible results the way we are used to seeing, but something is happening. And it is like years and years. Imagine you have not cleaned your house for 40 years, 50 years. You cannot expect that you start doing something and you'll have a spick and span home in 4 or 5 months, So I would say that we need to give time for everything to work. And we also need to as far as I don't know which products have been used, but as far as the products which we have been using with our company, I have seen definitely tangential blood work in each and every case which I have been treating. I have been many people complaining, I don't say it verbally, but I have seen it happening in the blood work, and that's the reason why we are so passionate about this, and stopping our work and hopping on call with you all guys. Thanks.
So I've got a question. Yeah, I know that you're all saying that if there are any questions or problems, adverse reactions, to go to your physician, go to your doctor and ask them about it. But if this is so cutting edge, chances are they're not going to know about it, and they're not going to know what to tell you. So if someone gets started on this and they are having adverse reactions, where within the company is there someone to speak with?
Well,
yeah. Okay. So I know for me personally, I mean, one of my very best friends, Desiree Mamet, and Sveta's worked very closely with her, Dr. Sveta, just being a specialist in cancer. Her son had AML leukemia, and very aggressive form of leukemia. And, of course, that's very specific, and we take everybody's case one by one. And the beauty of our company, and it's just like this world here, is relationships. It's, the connection and taking care of people. So we just, made those connections and made sure that they got all the questions and answers that they needed. And actually, a gentleman from our company, along with Sveta, worked directly with Chase's doctor to make sure that this was safe for him. It was good. And actually, it was the first time that they'd ever allowed a natural product to be used, during his chemo process at the University of Denver. And praise God, he's doing amazing today. So it's really, Joan, just kind of, we are so relational, and we just want to take care of each person on a case-by-case basis, of course, if they've got those deep questions. And we're just so grateful to have all these experts, of course, here. Does that help?
Yes, it does. But as your company gets bigger, that personal, the ability to answer those questions is going to go away into a customer service center. And, how are people going to be able to get taken care of? I mean, if there are, for one of your docs to say that, yes, you can have reactions to this that are not normal, that can scare people off.
Can I interrupt really quickly? So the company has, you can actually, if someone has a question, they can actually send a question. It actually comes to the medical advisory board if it's something that is not being able to be answered by, let's say, customer service or whoever's doing that monitoring. So the neat part is, yes, it is a relational company. I'm hoping that no matter how big it gets, that there's always that personal, because it is a word of mouth product, that there's always someone where they can ask, you know, figure out who would have, be able to answer the question, or team up with the physician who's not knowing, has never heard of this, not really knowing what to do with it. And then as a company, we do, that's why they have, it actually just changed its name. So it used to be a medical advisory board. Now it's called the Science Advisory Board. And we help them with answering questions when they come and they don't have an answer to it. So there is a line of communication that's there to then help customers if there is an issue. I will say there's less than 1% of an intolerant type of reaction that's reported on the product. So that's pretty incredible when you think of a natural product. So,
and may I add one cent as well? Remember, this is food. Each of the activators has 5 or fewer ingredients in it, and if you go to a sandwich shop or a soup store, you know, and sit down for a meal, you're consuming more than 5 ingredients. So there's a possibility of an allergy to any of the ingredients. It's always possible with anything. But a large majority of the issues, of the sub 1% of issues, are actually due to the body's actual healing process. So it's, some people call it a healing crisis, some people call it Herxheimer, some people call it cleansing. But when your body is starting to take out the trash, it can be a little bit uncomfortable. And so that's what some of the untoward effects can be. It's actually the fact that it's working. And there's always options of having more water, decreasing, you know, the amount of each of them that you're taking. It's something that you and your person that you're getting, that's the beauty of how this is marketed through person to person. You know, you can get with your person, and if they don't know the answer, they'll get with their person. You know, we'll get you the answer.
How long should the discomfort last, if there is?
It's an individual thing. For myself, my doctor told me about this 8.5 years ago, and I knew I would take it forever. And I didn't expect to feel anything, because I know you don't feel oxidative stress any more than you feel your cells dividing, right? You don't feel cellular processes. You don't feel your calcium level unless it's critical. But I stopped taking everything that I had been taking for an antioxidant or anti-inflammatory effect, and just ran out of the bottle and recycled it. I didn't expect to feel anything. What happened was, for about a couple of weeks, I felt a little bloaty. You know, I don't want to give too many details. But then I thought, well, reducing oxidative stress is so critical, I'll put up with bloating, you know. But it was temporary. I didn't realize it would be temporary. I didn't realize it would happen. But then after several weeks, it was like a veil had been lifted, and I had all kinds of mood, energy, focus, clarity, recovery, strength, endurance, etc. So the benefits of activation, I think, are worth a little bit of discomfort. And again, it's less than, it's fewer than 1% report adverse reaction. So.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything to add, Dr. Silverman? Oh, she's walking around.
She's always
like
doing
the
something.
hospital. Okay.
Okay, so sorry, I'm in the store. It may be noisy. So the thing is, number one, the thing is, you need to understand, absolutely, Dr. Rodarty is absolutely correct. You can send your question and answers to the Science and Research Panel, as well as Medical Advisory Board. However, under the disclaimer, this is not to cure, mitigate, prevent diseases. The disease-associated question may not be answered. Basically how to take the products with the medications will be, I believe. Now, the thing is, the NAD product may not be working without NRF2. And I think Dr. Rodarty's presentation on Tri-Synergizer is so important, because you need to understand that there's a cellular crosstalk. So despite that you're taking NAD, your cells may not be responding right because they simply don't have the right milieu. So that's why you need to approach it in a so multidimensional and multidirectional way. As well as Dr. McKee told you, the idea is not just to take supplements or even cellular upregulators without your nutritional basis. The food is the foundation of health. So that has to be This has to be addressed and stuff. And in LifeVantage, we teach lifestyles. Everything works. It's not just about one magic or three magic bullets or three magic pills. It's the lifestyle. But this is the credo of LifeVantage.
Thank you, Dr. Sveta.
Guys, one thing I want to mention, Michelle, I think it's important for everybody to know. They keep repeating our company, the company LifeVantage. LifeVantage is it's a traded company, so that's another thing that I love it. You can go research.
Traded on the NASDAQ.
Transparency is a must, obviously, you guys know. So the name of the company is LifeVantage, as you've heard, and we're always open to questions, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, one thing I hope you know from Michelle and I is we will be 100% transparent, good, the bad, the ugly on everything in our life. And, you know, being publicly traded was important to me. With my financial background, I used to hold my security licenses. And when we first got involved, it was a pink sheet or over-the-counter stock. Since then, it's been uplisted to the NASDAQ. So we are on the NASDAQ. We actually rung the closing bell the first part of January. And to me, that's just, it adds to the credibility of all the science that's backing the product. Is we're also regulated by the SEC on, you know, what the company is doing. So I love that. Thanks for pointing that out, Sarah.
Varda, I love you. You know, Varda, when we were at your house in Israel, and the gentleman got up front and spoke, I was dying inside because he was speaking of a study that extends lifespan that was done by the National Institute of Aging. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, I know exactly this study, which had to do with metformin. And then alongside it is the study with Protandim, as they mentioned, which is the only natural product that they had done. It was right alongside it that extends lifespan. So I'm just like, this is so cool. So his brain was like,
invest a lot in biotech, and we all took the NAD, and probably it's not working on itself. We need the NRF2.
Yeah, those three in combination, that synergy does have a big impact. And, you know, for those of you on like the financial or the business side of this, we just closed out our fiscal year on June 30th and just reported to the street. It was our highest revenue year ever, our second highest quarter. The highest quarter was actually the third quarter of that fiscal year. So we're starting in the 2020 fiscal year right now. And navigating the COVID season, I guess, or the times, has been challenging for a lot of companies, but we've seen even improved and increased business and revenue in this business model because it has allowed that direct distribution to consumers, you know, whether it's Amazon or it's a network marketing company, it's allowed us to flourish in this time that other companies have had dramatic impacts from being shut down. And it truly is, you know, a mobile business that can be done anywhere in the world. So I think it's fast forwarded our acceptance into the business stream 5 years at least into, you know, perception and willingness for people to look at the business more seriously as something that, you know, is a big deal within the current environment.
But yes, we are here, you guys, with, I'm sure, do you guys have a WhatsApp group chat? So when people have questions, and I mean, we are just here, as you saw from all these amazing doctors, and of course, Orem and Sara, our passion is you, right? And it's the world. I remember when I first heard about this, we weren't over in Europe yet, and Sean and I were over in Paris, and we were having to go use the restroom in Starbucks. And I just, you know, those moments that just catch you off guard. I was standing there as all the buses and all the people were going by, and my heart just stopped. And I thought, oh my gosh, nobody here knows about this yet. And it wasn't like woohoo business opportunity. It was my heart just wanting them to know how badly they needed this in their bodies. And you guys, I mean, our kids have been taking this, and they do take this every single day. So this is for everybody. I was so sick though. And friend to friend and family to family, I wouldn't go on the stage saying this in front of thousands of people, but I know it saved my life. And so we're so passionate, and we just want to help you and yours. So whatever we can do, and the beauty is everything is transparent, the products and everything. And we love you all, and are just so grateful that we could just fill your brains up with all this good stuff.
And keep in mind, we just focused on kind of our core flagship of products. But I'd encourage you guys as well, too, to talk to Sara about the skincare line. That came out of a study from Louisiana State University on skin cancer and melanoma. They said if NRF2 from the inside out is great, what would happen if you did a topical from the outside in, with our skin being the largest organ? And the skincare line that they developed is unbelievable. They actually brought in one of the best biochemists in the skincare industry. She was the creator of Strivectin, which is the #1 selling SKU ever in skincare. And she helped develop this skincare line based off of NRF2 technology. And then I'd also challenge you guys to really investigate what you're putting on your scalp. Your hair system, whatever your shampoo and conditioner is, there's a lot of products out there that have toxic elements in there, and we know the skin absorbs that into the body. So having a natural based skincare and also hair care system is super important, and it's based off of this research that's already been done with the flagship products.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Awesome
so
seeing
good
all
to
your
see
faces again.
faces.
Someday we'll be able to travel again in a bus with all of
Very
you.
soon.
Howard,
Brother.
love you all so much.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. This was fabulous. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Oh,
Thank you.
good.
So good to see you.
Loved it.
Okay. Love